What up, YouTube Digital? Let's see if I can get this color in a little bit better so you guys can. I'm on Sears.com right now, and I'm just kind of fucking around right now, trying to look up some shit. All right. Today I bought a table saw. First off, let me see here. Yeah, I guess I can. Alright, this is what I bought. And I know it looks older and stuff, and it is. This is a Sears Craftsman Ryobi hybrid that I got for a very awesome price. And I'm going to tell you what, it looks kind of like poo-poo right now, but I'm going to tell you after I'm done fixing it, first off tomorrow, and me telling you exactly everything that's involved in this thing, you're gonna realize that this thing's actually pretty fucking badass. First off, it's 3 tools, and let me repeat that: 3 tools in one. This guy has modified the shit out of this thing, and it's fucking awesome. All right, first off, this table saw part right here. Okay, this table saw part right here is a older Sears unit from, like, I don't know, the 80s or whatever, maybe even the 70s, fuck, who knows, but it still works. And it's a belt system, not a direct drive like, you know, all those contractor $100 table saws are, or the motor is directly bolted to the blade. No, this one has a belt system and electric motor and, you know, shit like that, and it works really good. Then at some point they upgraded the fence system, which is this bar right here and this rip fence. So this is from a newer style. Okay, now it's all degreed right and everything else. So now basically this just made this into a newer, you know, style unit, because the only thing difference between, you know, the old 70s and this and the newer style saws is just rip fits. You know, these things have come a long way in design and locking and all that bullshit. Okay, so, and then usually the bottom, oh wait, that's already there, the push down. You push this plate down and then the wheels pop down, and then you can roll it all over the place, and then you hit this little red thing and the wheels come back up and it's, you know, stopped in place. Yeah, okay, cool. So that's all, you know, already been done. You know, so he's modified that and it works awesome. But I'm not even beginning to be done yet. This bucket did not come with it, but the bag did. Now, tomorrow I am going to modify this thing. I'm going to modify it a little bit more and bring it up to date. It's all in pieces right now. I had to take it apart to get it out of the truck because this thing is freaking heavy. And one of the things I'm going to do is modify it in a way that it's easier to come apart. So, yeah. Plus, I want to replace, this is awesome. This is particle. I'm going to replace it with MDF. There's a couple things I'm going to do. But mainly, this piece of plywood right here, I'm going to replace that with a double thick layer of MDF for 2 reasons. One, this plywood holds this top of this frame together for this metal thing. And it's kind of warped and kind of cracked a little bit, and then on top of that the bolts for the table saw go through it as well, and that causes a problem. It's kind of a pain to separate these, so I'm going to have the bolts, I'm going to make it a double layer, and I'm going to sink the bolts in and have bolts come down for the legs, and then I'm going to leave bolts sticking up so these sit right on top of the bolts and you can tighten down the nuts. And I know it's hard to explain right now, but you'll see it tomorrow. I'll make a video. But then, let's go closer. Still not done yet. You see here, here's the main rib fence, and you can see now that this is a good style, fence setup. This isn't, the shit style. This is the expensive one. You notice something's kind of weird about this whole thing yet? Here's a saw. What the fuck is this? Better yet, what the fuck is this going on over here? Huh. That's kind of weird. So let's check out this one. Alright, so now we're looking at the other side. Here's our, rib fence. Here's the other side. The other side's still the good, style rib fence, but figured out what this is yet? Here, fuck, I'll just tell you. It's a router. It's a router, table. Built onto this, dude. It's all flush. I mean, it kind of looks weird, but this is like flush and everything else. There's no snags or no nothing. It's fucking badass. I'm gonna leave this on. Again, this is all in pieces, but I'm gonna put this back in. I truly like that. But let me go back to another one of these. This one right here. Okay, so there's the router table. So he did not come with a router, but I could put mine underneath there. Yeah, badass. Now this side. Any suggestions, questions, theories? I will say that, there's a slot there for the blade. What the fuck is that? I don't know if the other picture will show it better. Better yet, what's that thing right down there? Here, I'll just do it. This is another table saw. This one doesn't have the motor. The motor did burn out. But, yeah, it's another fucking table saw. And it's done pretty decently, too. And again, it's all flush against this and everything else. And the blade can raise and lower. And it actually is set up for a dado. So that's pretty cool. You don't have to, deal with it. I'm gonna play around with this side. I may take this out. I may put in a contractor saw on this side and leave it a dado setup, but leave it like a contractor saw. It depends on if I can get one in there. If I can fit one in there cheap, for cheap to buy, I'm just gonna put a contractor saw in there. That way, it's a lot cheaper. And this does need a motor, and I couldn't mount it, but this thing is like, this unit right here is heavy. This is probably like 45-50 pounds alone. I mean, this is cast. I mean, it's bad enough this is all cast and steel and all this other bullshit, but this this alone is like 45 pounds. So I may take this out and put a normal contractor saw in there, and do leave the dado setup in there, because I like the thought of that. I like it. I could use it. That's why I think with making speaker boxes and stuff, dados are are a pretty common deal. So I would probably leave. I'd probably leave it in there. But since I need a motor and stuff, I will still keep it, so later on if I want to go back to this style, I can. But I think I should go with a contractor saw and go from there. But again, that's only if I can get one that fits in this spot, which I think I can. And at the pawn shops, hell, most of those contractor saws are like $40. So, plus then I'll have the other controls, like that dado's there, but it only does at 90 degree and stuff like that, and there'll be, I have the raise and lower control like this one right here, but I don't have any tilt or anything else. And if I go with a contractor saw, I will have some tiltability in case I do want to, uh, put a different blade on there. But anywho, so that's what I bought. And here's a little close up so you can see. So even if I don't put it back in, I'll just put a piece of MDF there to fill in that area. But I can rip 24 plus inches, so that's pretty awesome. I like that. Um, yeah, so fun. Tomorrow I'll do some modifications, some basic ones, and then we get going. I got a little thing going on. Let's see, with some other shit. So, here we go. Now I was looking at table saws in here, so I could get a, just like one of these little deals and drop it in there. I was looking at fences. Here's the panel kit. But that thing works great, so it's not like I'm gonna need to do a lot of shit. Yeah, it works pretty much out of the box with no problems. And yeah, so I believe I still got my old dado blades. I got a really cool stacked dado setup where the blade was like, I think it was like $80. But the funny thing is that stack setup was more than the saw I had. It was worth more than the saw I had at the time. It was actually worth a hell of a lot more than the saw I had at the time. But sometimes, the saws count. That definitely counts. But having the blade counts even more. But I'm gonna be getting on some speaker boxes and shit like that. I just need to finish putting it together tomorrow, and then I can get going, buy some wood, shit like that. So any hoozle, I'll try to keep this short, except for I am pissed off at some eBayers right now. I won a belt sander, and the guy, apparently while I was out fucking killing myself trying to get this saw taken out and everything else, apparently this stupid fucker refunded me money because the belt sander I bought now doesn't work. How it doesn't work now when it worked before, I just, I'm just a little, I'm kind of pissed off at, people like on eBay and shit like that have just no fucking integrity, and there's this fucking jackasses and pieces of shit and stuff like that. I'm just tired of it. There's been like 3 times in the last month I've been bidding or watching on something and the item disappear, and they say that the item is no longer available, and then the item pop back up again at a later point, just so that the person could possibly get the high amount of money that the person wants for their item. So usually at that point nobody bids on it or runs it up or anything else, and yeah, it just pisses me off. It really does. It's stupid. It's fuck. I just want to shit on these people's faces. And what the fucked up thing about it is eBay keeps letting them do it, and some of them I had a bid on, an active bid, and they just allow them to just take it down, like, fuck it, whatever. I'll just tell eBay it's no longer, there, and I'll just take it down and get rid of it. It really pisses me off. In this case, the guy didn't even send me a email saying, dude, this thing ain't working anymore. Is there something you want to do, or should I just refund you the money? I did get that one from Harbor Freight. It's still in my garage. I was gonna go return it. The 1x30. I was gonna return it for this 1x42. And I don't know if it really did break, or this brand of belt sander has a couple models that are worth like $600. This is not one of those models. So I'm hoping the person didn't go, oh gee, I should have gotten $600, because the money he got was fair. So I don't know. I have no idea. It just does piss me off, though. It really does. And what the hell is this bullshit? Remove rear panel. Okay, so you mount that there. What does this do? Oh, this only goes on one type of table saw. There's some magnetic readout deal for tilt on the saw. You can. That sucks. It only is good for one type of saw, though. It has a digital readout to tell you the tilt. How many degrees it's tilted, but it's only good for one saw, so it's $80 too. So any hoozle, I'm really stoked about this new table saw. I know it doesn't look like much right now, but I will have it, buttoned up tomorrow and shit like that, and it will look a lot better. I mean, shit. Realistically, here is the same type of saw today. I don't know. Shit, hold on. Let me see here, because I don't know how much this is showing. This is the same type of rip fence and everything else that's on the one that I got. The same type of fence and thing. And the saw itself is not that much different. This is like the new version of what's out there. And these things are not cheap. Even this one right here is, I don't know how much it is. It's probably $400 just for the saw. And yeah, the dados and stuff like that are expensive. But anywho, yeah. Let me know if you're into woodworking. I'm doing this to build speaker boxes on the side, so I can help fund other projects and everything else. I can whip out speaker boxes pretty quick, so I'll just do it. But any hoozle, peace, love, and rock and roll. Any hoozle.